Ladies and gentlemen, close your eyes for just a moment. Take a breath in and let it go. Now imagine this: you wake up tomorrow morning, and instead of being the same person you were yesterday, you choose to become the person you want to be. Imagine stepping into the future version of yourself, that version that is confident, healthy, abundant, joyful. You see, there is a simple formula to create the life you want. And the truth is, you don't have to wait for your environment, for money, for people, or for circumstances to change before you feel different. You can change your inner world first, and the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. When you keep living the same thoughts, you create the same choices. Those choices create the same behaviors, and those behaviors reinforce the same experiences. Experiences feed the same emotions, and those emotions fuel the same thoughts. And suddenly you're living in a loop. Yesterday becomes today, and today becomes tomorrow. Same problems, same stress, same results. But here's the formula: change your thoughts, change your emotions, change your future. If you can think greater than your environment, if you can feel greater than your past, then you can step into a new destiny. So the question is, are you willing to stop being defined by a memory of the past and instead be defined by a vision of the future? When you wake up in the morning, don't just get out of bed and fall into the automatic program. Pause, close your eyes, and ask yourself, who do I want to be today? Not, what do I have to do today? But who do I want to be while I do it? If you practice this long enough, the brain does not know the difference between imagining and experiencing. Your body begins to believe it's already living in that future. That's the secret. You rehearse the future so many times, your biology, your emotions, your energy align with it. And then life has no choice but to bring it to you. Remember, you don't wait for healing to feel whole. You don't wait for success to feel worthy. You don't wait for love to feel complete. You become it first. Because the moment you feel abundant, the moment you feel grateful, the moment you feel free, before it has even happened, that's when you are no longer searching for your future. You are living it. That's the power every one of you holds inside. It's not outside. It's not luck. It's not magic. It's a formula. And once you understand it, you'll never look at life the same way again. So tonight, before you go to sleep, don't replay your old problems. Don't rehearse your stress. Rehearse your future. Picture it, feel it, fall in love with it. Because the moment you emotionally embrace that future, you are conditioning your body to believe it's real. And that's when miracles happen. When we talk about awareness of the loop, we are talking about something most people live their entire lives without noticing. Imagine waking up every morning, grabbing your phone, checking the same notifications, rushing into the same routine, drinking the same coffee, driving the same road, meeting the same people, and thinking the same thoughts. This cycle creates a rhythm, and while it feels comfortable, it also traps you. Day after day, your mind plays the same record, your body reacts with the same emotions, and your choices lead you back to the same place. It's like running on a treadmill. You sweat, you get tired, but no matter how much energy you spend, you remain in the same spot. Awareness is the moment you realize you are in this loop. It's like when someone suddenly turns the lights on in a dark room. You start to see the walls that have been keeping you inside. This awareness is not about blaming yourself. It's about opening your eyes to a pattern. For example, think of someone who constantly says, "I never have enough money." That thought triggers feelings of lack and stress. Those feelings push them to make choices from fear, maybe avoiding opportunities or spending carelessly for temporary comfort. Those choices create experiences where they still end up struggling. And guess what? Those experiences confirm the original thought, "I never have enough money." The loop continues. But the moment that person becomes aware, they pause and see it clearly. They notice, wait, I've been feeding this cycle. My thoughts of lack are shaping my life. That awareness alone is powerful. It's like catching yourself walking in circles and realizing there's an exit right beside you that you've been ignoring. Think of it in relationships. Someone might believe, "People always hurt me." With that thought, they enter situations guarded and defensive. Their behavior pushes people away or attracts the wrong kind of people. When the relationship fails, it becomes another piece of evidence. See, people hurt me. But if they become aware of the loop, they can stop and say, Maybe I've been carrying this belief from a past experience into every new one. What if I break the cycle? That awareness changes everything. Even in simple daily habits, awareness of the loop plays a role. Consider how many of us grab unhealthy food when stressed. The thought is, I need comfort. The choice is grabbing chips or sweets. The behavior is overeating. The experience is guilt or low energy. The emotion is stress or disappointment, which brings us back to I need comfort. The loop is alive. But awareness looks like this. The moment your hand reaches for the snack, something inside says, this is the pattern. I'm not actually hungry. I'm looking for comfort. That awareness creates a space between the thought and the action. And in that space, freedom is born. Awareness of the loop is not just intellectual, it is deeply practical. It's noticing your emotional triggers at work. Maybe every time your boss criticizes you, you immediately feel small, powerless, and reactive. The loop says criticism, the emotion of worthlessness, defensive reaction, strained relationship, more criticism. Once you become aware, you can breathe and ask, am I repeating the same reaction? What if I break the loop by responding differently this time? Suddenly, your inner world changes, and so does the outcome. One of the most inspiring things about awareness is that it gives you responsibility without guilt. Responsibility because you see that you've been unconsciously creating the same reality. Without guilt because now you know you can choose differently. It's like driving a car and realizing you've been stuck in second gear all along. You don't beat yourself up for it, you simply shift gears. In daily life, awareness can come in small flashes. That moment when you realize you are complaining about the same thing you complained about last year. That second when you recognize the tension in your body as soon as you think about a problem. That quiet observation when you catch yourself doubting your ability before even trying. Each of these moments of awareness is a doorway to freedom. The truth is, you can't change what you don't see. The loop is invisible until you shine light on it. Most people keep waiting for their environment to change before they change, but the environment is simply reflecting the loop they are running inside. It's like standing in front of a mirror, frowning, and waiting for the reflection to smile first. It doesn't work that way. Awareness tells you change inside first, then the reflection will change. Imagine the power of practicing this daily. Every time you feel the same old negative thought, you pause and say, this is the loop, I've been here before. Instead of diving deeper into it, you step outside. It's like waking from a dream where you were lost in a maze, only to realize the door was never locked. That realization alone shifts your energy, and a new path opens. Awareness is the seed of transformation. It's not about fixing everything in one day, but about noticing the loop every time it shows up. Over time, noticing becomes easier, and breaking free becomes natural. Just like training a muscle, your ability to stay aware grows stronger the more you practice it. So the question is, are you willing to pause, to look at your own loops, and to recognize them? Because once you do, you'll realize that the power to change has always been with you. The loop was never a prison, it was simply a program, and awareness is the key to rewriting it. Being defined by a vision rather than by a memory is one of the most liberating decisions a person can ever make. Most people walk through life carrying the weight of their past on their shoulders, almost as if every mistake, every failure, every hurtful word spoken to them has been permanently tattooed on their identity. They wake up and replay yesterday in their minds, and then unconsciously act it out again today. If they were betrayed once, they live guarded. If they failed once, they live doubtful. If they were hurt once, they live afraid. This becomes their reality because they have allowed a memory of the past to define who they are. But there is another way, a way of being defined not by what happened, but by what can happen. To live by vision is to wake up every morning and allow the picture of your desired future to be more real to you than the shadows of your past. Think of someone who has struggled with public speaking. Maybe in high school they froze on stage and everyone laughed. That memory became a story. I am not a good speaker. Every time they were given an opportunity to share their thoughts, the memory whispered in their ear, remember what happened. Don't embarrass yourself again. So they avoided opportunities, remained silent in meetings, and never tested their true potential. But imagine that person choosing to be defined by a vision instead. They close their eyes and see themselves confidently addressing a crowd. They imagine the applause, the inspiration in people's eyes, the sense of accomplishment in their heart. Day by day, they rehearse that vision in their mind until it feels more real than the old memory. Soon, their body begins to respond with less fear and more confidence, and when the next opportunity comes, they step into it with courage. They are no longer a prisoner of the past, they are a pioneer of the future. Living by vision means you stop asking, "What happened to me?" and start asking, "What do I want to create?" It's the difference between dragging old luggage everywhere you go and walking freely into new horizons. Imagine driving a car while staring only at the rearview mirror. You'd eventually crash because your focus is in the wrong place. That's how many people live, always looking at the past, replaying old pains, and expecting the future to be different. But if you lift your eyes and look forward, the windshield is wide open. The road ahead is clear. The past is just a point of reference, not a place of residence. Take the example of a student who once failed a major exam. The memory of failure made them believe they are not intelligent enough. They carried that belief into every new subject, every new challenge. Each time they sat down to study, the memory whispered, "You're not smart." But the moment that student chooses a vision, seeing themselves graduating, feeling proud, holding a degree in their hands, they begin to shift. Their study sessions are no longer about proving the past wrong, but about living into the future vision. And with that, they develop new energy, better focus, and greater resilience. Eventually, the vision becomes their reality. Even in relationships, vision is powerful. Someone who went through heartbreak might live every new relationship with suspicion and fear. Their past defines them as unworthy of love or destined for betrayal. But if they dare to create a vision of a healthy, supportive, and loving connection, and they practice believing in it every day, their energy changes. They start showing up differently, more open, more kind, more courageous. That new state of being naturally attracts a partner who matches their vision rather than their memory. Living by a vision also requires courage, because it means letting go of the comfort of the familiar past. Sometimes the past is painful, but at least it feels known, and the human mind clings to the known even if it hurts. Vision, on the other hand, is unknown, uncertain, and untested. But that's where the beauty lies. To step into vision is to trust in possibilities that you cannot yet see with your eyes, but can already feel with your heart. Daily life offers countless chances to practice this. When you wake up, instead of saying, "Here comes another stressful day," pause and say, "Today I choose to live as the calm, confident version of me." When you face a challenge at work, instead of thinking, "I always fail at this," declare, "I am learning, growing, and capable." Each time you choose the vision over the memory, you strengthen new neural pathways in your brain. Science shows that the brain does not know the difference between a vividly imagined future and a remembered past. That means you have the power to teach your brain and body a new reality before it even happens. And think of how inspiring that is. You don't have to wait for external proof to feel successful, loved, or free. You can start embodying those states right now by being defined by the vision of who you want to become. Slowly, the vision becomes more familiar than the memory. Soon, you wake up excited about possibilities rather than fearful of repetitions. You carry hope instead of baggage, purpose instead of regret. Ultimately, to live by vision is to declare, "My past may explain me, but it does not define me. My vision defines me." And every time you act in alignment with that truth, you move one step closer to the life you were meant to create. When you wake up in the morning, the very first moments of your day are more powerful than you realize. For most people, the alarm rings, and without a single conscious thought, they step into the automatic program of yesterday. They reach for their phone, scroll through social media, check messages, and already their mind is flooded with the same images, the same stories, and the same emotions that kept them tied to their past. By the time they stand up, they have already rehearsed who they were yesterday. They are not thinking about who they want to become. They are simply replaying who they already are. That is why so many lives feel repetitive, predictable, and uninspired. But imagine shifting that habit. Imagine opening your eyes in the morning and, instead of reaching for your phone, you reach for a vision. You ask yourself one simple yet powerful question: who do I want to be today? Not What do I have to do today? Because the to-do list will always be there. The tasks, the deadlines, the meetings, and the responsibilities will fill the day no matter what. The real question is, who do I want to be while I do it? If you choose to start your morning this way, you are no longer living by default, you are living by design. Let's say you have a busy schedule. You have meetings, calls, family responsibilities, maybe even stressful challenges ahead. If you begin the day unconsciously, you carry stress, irritation, and frustration into each of those moments. But if you begin with intention, if you pause and choose, today I want to be calm, focused, and grateful, then every situation you encounter is filtered through that choice. Instead of snapping at a colleague, you breathe and respond calmly. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by tasks, you organize them with focus. Instead of resenting responsibilities, you find gratitude in them. The external events may be the same, but the way you show up changes everything. Consider a parent waking up in the morning. The kids are rushing, the breakfast needs to be made, the house is chaotic. If that parent wakes up already stressed, the entire household feels it. Voices are raised, patience is short, and the morning ends in frustration. But imagine if that same parent, before even stepping out of bed, chose their state of being. They sit for a moment, take a breath, and declare, "Today, I will be patient and loving no matter what the morning brings." Suddenly, even when the kids spill juice or argue, the parent responds differently. The environment may still be chaotic, but the energy is transformed. That small shift in the morning changes not only their day, but also the day of everyone around them. Think of it like setting the temperature of a thermostat. If you don't consciously set it, the environment dictates it for you. If the morning starts with stress, the temperature of your emotions stays high all day. But when you set it intentionally, you become the thermostat rather than the thermometer. You influence your environment rather than being controlled by it. Even in personal goals, this morning reset is powerful. Imagine someone who wants to become healthier. If they wake up each day thinking, "I'm tired, I don't want to exercise, I'll probably fail anyway," then their actions will align with that belief. But if they take a moment in the morning to say, "Today, I want to be disciplined and proud of myself," they are more likely to lace up their shoes and move their body. The day starts to reflect that decision. Over time, those small daily resets build into massive transformation. Another example, picture a student preparing for exams. If they wake up and immediately feel anxious, the whole day becomes heavy. But if they wake up, take a deep breath, and affirm, "Today I will be focused and confident," then their mind aligns with that energy. Even if the subject is difficult, they approach it with steadiness rather than panic. That simple choice each morning rewires the way they engage with challenges. What makes this so inspiring is that it's available to everyone, regardless of circumstance. You don't need money, status, or special opportunities to practice it. All you need is the willingness to pause and choose. The most successful people in the world are not defined by what happens to them in a day, but by who they decide to be in the face of it. Life will always present uncertainty, obstacles, and pressure. But the morning reset is your anchor. It reminds you that while you may not control every event, you absolutely control how you meet it. The truth is, most people lose the battle of the day before they even get out of bed because they let their past emotions set the tone. But when you consciously decide, "Today I will live as the future version of myself," you begin to align with that vision moment by moment. Over time, this practice becomes second nature. The same way brushing your teeth is automatic, choosing your state of being each morning becomes a habit. And once it's a habit, your life changes drastically. Instead of living like a victim of circumstances, you live as a creator of experiences. Instead of being tossed around by emotions, you guide them. Instead of repeating the past, you embody the future you desire. So when tomorrow morning comes, don't wake up into yesterday, wake up into possibility. Don't let the world decide your mood, decide it for yourself. Ask that one transformative question, "Who do I want to be today?" And then live the answer with every word, every choice, every step. That is how ordinary mornings become extraordinary beginnings, and that is how simple days build in. Mental rehearsal is one of the most extraordinary tools a human being can use to reshape their life, yet most people underestimate its power because it feels too simple. The truth is, The brain does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a physically lived one. That means when you sit quietly and rehearse your future in your mind, when you imagine yourself succeeding, speaking confidently, being healthy, or living abundantly, your brain begins to wire itself as if it has already happened. Your body starts to prepare for a reality that you have not yet stepped into, and in time, life bends to meet the image you have been practicing within. Think of an athlete before a big game. Long before they step onto the field, they are in the locker room with their eyes closed, visualizing every move. A basketball player sees themselves making the shot again and again until the brain believes it has already practiced it hundreds of times. When the real game arrives, their body simply follows the rehearsed program. That is why champions train their minds as much as their bodies. They know that winning happens in the mind before it happens in reality. This is not only for athletes. Imagine someone who struggles with public speaking. Every time they face an audience, fear grips them, their heart races, their palms sweat. If they keep replaying that failure in their mind, the body stores it as truth and the fear intensifies. But if they sit each day, close their eyes, and picture themselves walking confidently onto a stage, breathing deeply, speaking with clarity, and receiving applause, something begins to change. With each rehearsal, the body learns to relax instead of panic, and the mind learns to associate speaking with success rather than failure. By the time they face a real audience, they are no longer acting for the first time. They are simply stepping into a performance they have already lived 100 times in their imagination. Think of how this applies to health. A person recovering from illness can mentally rehearse being strong, energetic, and vibrant. They imagine walking with ease, laughing freely, enjoying life fully. As they rehearse this vision, their brain sends signals to the body that match those states, producing chemicals that support healing and vitality. What was once only imagined slowly becomes lived reality because the body cannot tell the difference between memory and vision. Even in daily routines, mental rehearsal is powerful. Suppose you have a stressful meeting tomorrow. Instead of dreading it and rehearsing all the ways it could go wrong, you close your eyes tonight and imagine yourself calm, articulate, and effective. You see the meeting flowing smoothly. You feel the relief of success. You even hear your colleagues responding positively. When you actually walk into that meeting, you carry the energy of success rather than fear, and your actions naturally align with the vision you rehearsed. Mental rehearsal also works in relationships. If someone always expects arguments at home, they subconsciously rehearse tension before they even walk through the door. Their tone, body language, and energy are already defensive, so conflict arises. But if instead they rehearse walking in with love, listening with patience, and expressing kindness, they train themselves to respond differently. Soon, the relationship shifts because the inner rehearsal has prepared the outer action. The beauty of mental rehearsal is that it costs nothing but intention and imagination. You don't need to wait for conditions to change to start practicing. You can sit for 10 minutes each morning and rehearse the future you want. Close your eyes, see it, feel it, hear it. The more real you make it inside, the more natural it becomes outside. It's like running through a play before the curtain rises. The performance flows smoothly because it has already been lived in the mind. People often underestimate how much of their life they are already rehearsing, but negatively. They imagine worst-case scenarios, replay past mistakes, and anticipate failure. Without realizing it, they are mentally rehearsing fear, disappointment, and lack, and the body and brain faithfully prepare for those experiences. By consciously choosing to rehearse joy, success, love, and abundance instead, you redirect the program. The same tool that once imprisoned you becomes the key that frees you. One of the most inspiring aspects of mental rehearsal is how it builds identity. Each time you picture yourself as the confident speaker, the healthy individual, the loving partner, or the successful leader, you are telling your brain, "This is who I am." Over time, your body begins to respond to that new identity. You carry yourself differently, you speak differently, you make different choices, all because you rehearsed being that version of yourself until it became familiar. Imagine starting each day with this practice. Before rushing into the noise of the world, you sit in silence and live your future in advance. You see yourself smiling at challenges, moving gracefully through tasks, radiating peace and strength. You let yourself feel the gratitude of already having achieved what you desire. By the time you stand up and step into your day, you are no longer reacting to life. You are acting from the reality you rehearsed. Over time, mental rehearsal is not just imagination, it becomes transformation. The vision you carry inside becomes more real to you than the memory of your past, and that is when your life begins to shift in extraordinary ways. Because what you practice within, you eventually live without. Emotional alignment is the secret ingredient that transforms thoughts from empty wishes into living realities. Many people dream of a better life, but they do so only with their intellect. They say, I want to be successful, or I want to be healthy, or I want to be loved, but deep inside, their emotions are still tuned to fear, doubt, or lack. It is like planting a seed, but pouring poison into the soil every day. The seed may hold potential, but without the right environment, it cannot grow. Emotional alignment means that your feelings and your thoughts are in harmony, that you are not just thinking about your future, but you are also feeling it with your whole heart and body as if it already exists. Imagine someone who wants financial freedom. Every day they think, I want more money. But at the same time, they feel stressed, anxious, and desperate about their current situation. Their thoughts are facing forward, but their emotions are glued to lack. This inner conflict blocks change because the body is always stronger than the mind. But when that same person closes their eyes and begins to feel gratitude for abundance before it arrives, when they let themselves feel the emotions of security, freedom, and joy, they create emotional alignment. The body starts believing the future is already here, and that belief changes decisions, actions, and energy in a way that naturally draws opportunities and prosperity closer. Think of health. Someone may think, I want to heal, but every time they focus on their illness, their emotions sink into fear or despair. The body hears those emotions and continues to live in stress. But when that person decides to feel whole before the healing is visible, to practice emotions of strength, peace, and vitality, the body receives a new message. It begins producing the chemistry of healing because the emotions are aligned with the thought. The alignment becomes a signal to the body that health is already happening. Emotional alignment shows up in relationships as well. A person may think, I want love in my life, but if they walk around feeling unworthy, lonely, or bitter, their energy sends out a different message than their thoughts. They end up attracting situations that match their feelings rather than their desires. But when they choose to feel worthy, loving, and joyful even before a partner arrives, they align with the reality they want. Their energy shifts, their behavior changes, and they naturally draw people who reflect those same emotions back to them. In daily life, emotional alignment can be practiced in simple yet powerful ways. Suppose you have a big exam, interview, or performance ahead. Instead of thinking, I hope I don't fail, which creates anxiety, you stop and ask, how would I feel if I already succeeded? Then you breathe and embody that feeling calm, confident, relieved, proud. You rehearse those emotions until they feel natural. When the moment arrives, you are not entering it as a bundle of nerves, but as someone who has already lived success in their body. That is the power of alignment. The beauty of emotional alignment is that it teaches you not to wait for conditions to change before you feel better. Most people say, when I get the job, I'll feel confident. When I find love, I'll feel worthy. When I heal, I'll feel happy. But the formula is backward. You must feel it first, and then life reflects it. You don't wait for the promotion to feel successful. You feel successful, and the promotion comes. You don't wait for the relationship to feel loved. You feel love, and the relationship appears. You don't wait for healing to feel whole. You feel whole, and the healing begins. Consider the way a musician prepares for a performance. They don't just think about hitting the right notes, they also feel the music flowing through them. That emotional connection transforms the performance from technical to inspiring. In the same way, when you align your emotions with your vision, your life stops being mechanical and becomes magnetic. People are drawn to you, opportunities find you, and circumstances bend in your favor because your energy is coherent. Emotional alignment is also about consistency. It's not enough to feel inspired for 5 minutes and then spend the rest of the day in doubt. It requires practice like training a muscle. Each morning, you remind yourself of the emotions of your desired future. You breathe, you imagine, you let your heart open, and you feel it as real. At first, it may feel like pretending. But as you repeat it, the body begins to accept it as truth. Soon the feeling becomes natural, and when it is natural, the future is already unfolding. Think of a gardener planting seeds. If every day they water the soil with care and provide sunlight, the seeds sprout into strong plants. But if they water with poison one day and nourishment the next, the plants struggle. Your emotions are the nourishment of your future. Each time you align them with your vision, you are watering the seeds of your destiny. The most inspiring part is this: you have complete control over your inner world, even if you cannot control the outer one. Circumstances may not change immediately, but your emotions can. And once your emotions shift, your perception of life shifts, your choices shift, and slowly reality begins to reflect your inner state. That is why people who live in emotional alignment often say life feels easier, lighter, more miraculous. They are no longer fighting against their past emotions, they are flowing with their future vision. So ask yourself, if the future I want were already here, how would I feel? And then live in that feeling now. That is emotional alignment. It is not pretending, it is preparing. It is not wishing, it is becoming. And when you live this way, you discover that the future you once longed for is no longer ahead of you, it is already within you, waiting to unfold.